This is a really cool new product from two companies that I already have trusted for a long time, CrossBreed Holsters and Ram Mounts. Now, if you're not familiar with Ram Mount Solutions, they've been making a lot of different adjustable arms for permanent and temporary mounts for all types of devices inside of vehicles, both cars, trucks, and motorcycles for a long time. They make GPS units, they make tablet units, they make cup holders, all kinds of different things, and they're very sturdy, heavy-duty mounts, adjustable arms, and then of course this 1-inch ball system allows you to mount a variety of different things to your vehicle. In this case, we're talking about a holster for a defensive pistol. Now, crossbreed holsters are obviously well known for high quality combination of leather and Kydex holsters. I've even designed holsters with them in the past, and I use them for my everyday concealed carry. This particular holster looks like the crossbreed Ojai, but in this case, it's mounted to the Ram Mount adjustable arm 1-inch ball system and one of the mounting floor plates that you can put anywhere inside of your vehicle. This is one of the crossbreed last ditch holsters, and similarly, it's mounted with this 1-inch ball system that can be attached to the mount. This one is very unique. This one is set up to be used on a motorcycle. Now, while I'm not a general fan of open carry, when you're on a motorcycle in a hot weather situation, it can be very hard to conceal a defensive firearm. If you're in a place where it's legal to openly carry and you choose to do so, mounting this holster to one of the handlebar areas or even the frame of your bike could be a great solution for you to always have access to that defensive pistol. And as you can see, whereas normally crossbreed holsters do not have any type of retention other than friction, in this case, this retention strap has been added to the design so that the firearm is secure as you're moving around on that motorcycle or even dirt bike. If you need the firearm, you can simply remove that strap, get your hand on the gun, and immediately have it available to you. The crossbreed solution from Ram Mounts is a great idea for anybody who's looking to mount a defensive pistol in an easily accessible way inside of their vehicle. You get a lot of adjustability and you get a lot of stability. Let's go inside of a car and take a look at how we might mount this Ram Mount holster from CrossBreed. All right, so here I'm in a typical passenger vehicle with the crossbreed on the Ram mount. And what we're going to look at is where we might go ahead and mount this. Now, inside of a truck, if I was back in the tour truck or something like that, there may be a lot more room, especially on a center console. If you have high, tall center console with plenty of room on either side, and especially if it's a wider vehicle with room inside near the seats, this may be much easier to mount. So I wanted to come in here to a typical passenger vehicle and see that there are several options where we can mount it and have easy access as the driver, and some at these places are also not going to interfere with the passenger's comfort at all. Now, obviously, I could place this right here on the side of this center console, set up this adjustable angle so that the holster were at perfect angle for presentation, but that would obviously interfere with the comfort of anybody trying to sit in the passenger seat. I could move the holster up in this direction and again adjust the angle so that the holster was presenting the firearm perfectly, and that may work very well as long as this seat is back and there's plenty of space for the passenger's legs. One of the things about this type of mounting solution, of course, in a passenger vehicle is that it's going to be very obvious. Anybody walking by the car is going to be able to see it. Now, the problem really isn't seeing the firearm, as long as it's legal to have a firearm openly displayed inside of your vehicle while you're in it. It's much more for me about people looking inside, seeing this, and thinking that maybe they should break that window open and see if there's a gun under the seat or inside the glove compartment. This overt letting everybody know that you have a gun in the car, that you carry a gun around, really isn't my preferred way to deal with defensive firearms. I prefer for them to be concealed and be a bit harder to know for the bad guy, potential bad guy, to know that you have it. So mounting it under the dash here may be a really good option. If I can mount it deeply under the dash and again adjust these angles, now my leg has plenty of space under it to work the gas pedal, move over to the brake. I'm not going to be bumping into it with my knee. Obviously, it's not interfering with my hands as I hit any of the buttons or anything I need to do, move on the steering wheel, but it presents the firearm here very, very conveniently for me to be able to draw it from. So this is actually my #1 preferred position. But again, you're going to have to find the place that works best for you. Some people might also consider mounting the firearm in a slightly less accessible place, but also a much less obvious place, even to a passenger who is going to get in your car, maybe somebody you're picking up, a coworker, you're going to go out on a business trip, and instead of having the firearm up here very overtly positioned, you can take this and mount it on the back of the center console and have it in a position where you could still relatively quickly, and again without looking, be able to grab the firearm and present it up to a ready position, use it for any kind of defensive action, but it also would be out of the way of the primary passenger compartment. This CrossBreed holster is very versatile. What I'm going to do today is go ahead, I'm going to mount it in a very overt position. We're going to mount it right here. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to take a look at how to use the CrossBreed ram mount holster in a worst case scenario. All right, so the first thing we're going to do when it comes time to mount is remove this plate on the 1-inch ball from the rest of the system. We'll tighten that up so that the holster stays with the adjustable arm. And as you can see, it's got 6 holes. You don't need to use all 6. I usually like to use 3 whenever I'm mounting these. And I use these self-tapping screws. That's going to be the best way to get into the plastic. Of course, if you're going to be mounting it on metal or anything like that, that's an option. I've used a lot of different ram mounts for different things inside of vehicles for many, many years, whether it's a GPS or a tablet, something like that. And this one, I'm sure, is going to be able to hold the typical defensive firearm very well with 3 of these self-tapping drywall screws. So I'm going to put this in here. One. Two. Now, if you're concerned that you may not be putting this in exactly the right place, of course, you can always just put this in the right position that you exactly want it. Take some kind of a marker or something, poke through the holes, and know exactly where the screws are going to be put in, and remount this once you get the actual foreplate off of the whole holster mount. But this is going to be a temporary installation, so I'm sure that we're going to be close here. As you can see, there's a little bit of movement. If I wanted to, I could lock that down with a couple of extra screws. I'll put one more in there. And that's going to make it a lot more solid. So we're going to go ahead now and put the adjustable holster arm back onto the floor mount. In this case, the console floor plate. I'll get my adjustments before I tighten that up. And then I'll go back over into the driver's side and we'll check the angle. And now, you check that. It actually needs to be brought in just a little bit more. And that's about perfect. So if I'm not concerned with the exact seat position relative to the passenger, maybe I could back that up. Plenty of room. If you had a smaller person in here, absolutely going to be comfortable and fine and out of their way. Again, this is a much more overt position. We could put it up under here and it'd be completely out of the way of any passenger. But right now where it's set up, it's absolutely not in the way of me at all as I'm driving and doing everything else I normally need to do. If I were to have someone out here that I needed to address, I parked, was getting ready to get out of the car, realize that something's going on, reach down. I like to place my thumb right up on the back of the holster so that I can push down as I bring the gun up and out, orient, extend, touch, and press. Of course, whether that window was up or down, that would be appropriate. If I had someone over here on the driver's side, same thing. I know where the holster is. I can reach over without looking, get a good grip on it, bring the gun up, come across parallel with my thigh, and then orient, extend, touch, press in the same exact way. So the CrossBreed ram mount vehicle holster is very versatile. It can be put in a lot of different places in the passenger compartment, either very overt and very easily accessible, a little bit more covert, but just as easily accessible under the dash on the driver's side, or back here out of the passenger area completely. Take a look at it for any mounting solution that you need inside of a vehicle for a defensive firearm.